Hi everyone, I'm here with Professor Ahmed Banafa from San Jose State University. He has written many books on artificial intelligence, as well as quantum computing, IoT, and blockchain. And he has won San Jose State University Author and Artist Awards. And so, hi, Professor Banafa, thank you for joining me.
How you doing? How are you, Anne? Good to be with you.
So today we'll be talking about the newest book, Artificial Intelligence in Action, Real-World Applications and Innovations. So your new book begins by laying out the foundations of AI. And for readers new to the topic, what do you think is the most misunderstood concept about artificial intelligence today?
Well, that's a very important question. This is one of the big questions we hear about it all the time. The biggest misunderstood concept of AI that at this stage, at this time, we think that AI has conscious and has understanding by itself, and it can make a decisions, which is basically independent of any kind of human intervention. We are still early at this stage. The conscious, the awarenesses, and the independence of the AI is something that we can see in the future, but at this stage, we don't have this kind of feature in the AI.
And so we have mentioned a lot of generative AI and large language models. What do you see as the biggest challenge in teaching or learning generative AI?
There are two parts of the of looking at AI. Number one is the technical skills, which is I think it's not difficult for anybody who would like to be part of the AI generation and revolution is to learn the technical skills like for example, the Pythons, the machine learning, all these kind of different technical skills. The other side of the equation is the ethical responsibility. So when I teach, AI, I make sure that in the ethical factor element is there. Because you cannot, for example, I'll give you an example. There was actually some cases against AI companies because they are using the information or they're using the characters of famous characters in the movies to train their system so that you can be one of those famous characters. So without paying the companies or using, for example, my book and taking the information with the book, and then somebody would like to write an article, there is no credit or there's no payment for that. So the ethical part is as equally important as the technical part. And this is where you try to balance this, and it's really a challenge.
So basically using copyrighted material to train AI, if I've understood
That is
correctly.
correct. Absolutely correct. Without paying, without having permission.
Yeah, the authors. So other concepts of AI are AI hallucinations and machine unlearning. Why are these two issues critical? How do you see the field addressing them?
Well, that's another point, a challenge for the artificial intelligence, which is how can you minimize hallucination is basically giving the wrong answers. That's what we are talking about. And if you train the system on certain set of data or sets of data, you could get that hallucination. It's a small percentage, but it could have a big impact if you're asking questions about medical field, for example, legal field, things that people can take it as the basis to make decision that will impact our life as human. And learning is how can I correct that? How can I go and retrain the system so when we have something like this or a question like this, the answer will be correct. Those are the concept of hallucination and trying to correct that hallucination by doing the concept of learning. This don't answer it with this way; it's going to be something else. Now, the current AI agents, we're talking about something like ChatGPT and Gemini and the rest. They take the feedback from the users, and will be one thing for them to modify and correct the answers if the answers are off base.
And so you also mentioned green AI and explore AI's role in disaster response and nuclear technology. So can you share a specific example that illustrates AI's positive societal impact or environmental impact?
It's all about efficiency of the model. I mean, we are talking about the AI using a tremendous power. We're talking about 14 light bulbs will use the power of one question. So you can spill this over to the how many millions of people asking questions, and one person will ask more than one question, and this is the consumption of the power. Now, if this power is coming from fossil fuel, it's coming from the traditional sources of the power, then we have a problem, because what we are doing, we are really increasing the release of the carbon into the atmosphere, and that's going to have a lot of impacts on Earth. So how to deal with that? uh, AI has three parts: the data, the hardware, and the algorithm. Optimize all of them. When you do the training, you have to use the data and clean the data and use only the data that you need. The hardware, you have to have a better design for the chips, and NVIDIA and AMD and the other companies. They're looking at that because the less power you are consuming and the more power of computing power you are given. This is the optimization of the hardware. And the last one is optimizing the programs, the algorithm itself. So instead of having 200,000 lines of code, you're going to have, something close to 50,000 lines of code because you're smart. You know that if you use some shortcuts, you can get the same result. So by optimizing all the three elements, you're advancing AI and you are not impacting the environment.
So there is a rising fear of AI. I guess that it will overtake jobs or certain. So how do you distinguish between hype fear and legitimate concerns?
The fear is legitimate. There is no question about it because we've seen this with every new technology that presents itself to us from the internet. And what happened with the internet when everybody they say no more library, TV will be gone, radio will be gone, everything will be on the line. We found out that it's just a matter of mixing. So you have the TV and you have the TV on the internet. You have the library, you have the library on the internet. It's actually helped extending the services. Now for the AI is doing everything, every task you give it to an AI agent, faster, accurate, and cheaper. And those are element any business person will look at it and say, I want this. So what happened is you talk about the routine jobs, that repetition. You're talking about something which is like, for example, dealing with, reading thousands of pages and summarizing them. The administrative stuff will be impacted. Now, to move from this part of my job will be impacted by the AI, the famous saying by multiple, tech expert and even the CEO of NVIDIA, AI will not take your job. People who know how to use AI will take your job. So for you as somebody who's working, make sure that AI is a tool you are using in your job. Even if you are not seeing this clear now, learn how to use it. You don't have to program it. You don't have to create your own agent. You don't have to do that. Learn how to use it. And I always give an example about Microsoft. Their agent, their AI, they call it co-pilot. Who is the pilot? You are the pilot, and this is going to help you, navigate through your work.
So the quality of the answers basically depends heavily on our input, right? What we query.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the key thing about it. It's the famous saying in computer science, garbage in, garbage out. If you have good, information, you're gonna have good data. If you don't have good data, you're not gonna have a good information. That's the bottom line.
I guess from that we you introduced the term AI whispers. Can you tell us more about this emerging role? What skills will define it?
That's an opportunity for people to discover new jobs. A whisperer is a person who will connect the technical abilities of the AI with the human. For example, how can I train a chatbot like ChatGPT or Gemini that if somebody types something, he or she means that, or maybe a variation of that, trying to humanize the AI, at the same time trying to teach the people how to ask the right question in the right format. And could be in any field, and this is another field. You could be somebody who is like AI contents, AI trainer, AI specialist. You have that ability of being the whisperer here. Why? Because you are dealing with the technology and you're dealing with the human. They ask you a question, how can you make sure that both are on the same field? And this is where the whispers come in. So you're taking it from one and you tell the other this is what he or she meant by.
Hmm. So you also discussed the global regulatory landscape. What model or region like Europe or US do you believe is currently setting the best example for AI regulation? What should we look for from our governments how to regulate AI?
Well, it's a challenge. Number one is it depends on who is running the country in certain times. Biden administration, there is a lot of restrictions on the ethics and the rules. Now we have the Trump administration where they say no more restrictions. You just go and show us the best of what you have. But I take Europe as an example. They have the AI Act, and the AI Act, which is a well comprehensive. I read it, and I like a lot of the item of this one. They have colors, they have levels of risk for the AI. And based on this one, there will be responsibility of the companies. Sometimes the companies, they look at regulation as something that will cripple innovation. It's going to slow them down. But the thing about it is you are asking somebody who's very powerful to wait, think before you act, because you have no idea what will be the impact of this. And we are seeing some of that by they are using copyrighted materials, people who spend their time making those kind of books or articles or movies or art productions, and then they found out that people can just write few simple words and then they can use it. So it's basically it's not fair for anybody on the other side of the equation. And the key element here, when we are talking about the regulation, there should be a balance where AI is advancing very well, very fast, and you have to have a guide rails. You don't stop the train, but you have a guide rails where this one will show them where to maneuver all these kind of things, keeping the rights and the ethics at the same time, giving the innovation and staying at the top of it.
As we approach the threshold of artificial general intelligence and even super AI, how should we as a society prepare for breakthroughs or for potential consequences, as you said?
Well, that's important. Number one is the misinformation is big. I mean, we always think about the sci-fi. We think about Terminator, Skynet, iRobot, all these kind of things. We think about it. They're gonna happen. They're gonna show itself when we sooner or later we're gonna be facing something like this. It's just we have to have the right information. We have, we're not gonna get to that one tomorrow. It's gonna take years for us until we get to the level where I can say that okay, general, artificial intelligence and that super artificial intelligence, because you need the tools, you need the hardware, you need the programs, you need the data, so you can get to that level. You need a breakthrough, for example, that will help you jump from what we have now, the reasoning and and the understanding of the materials and the generative AI concept, to something which will be independent. I can see that with the advancement of quantum computing, which is really the other scary technology, that if they can have a breakthrough and we're going to have our own quantum computers like the one I have now. Now we are talking about tremendous power. This power can help AI to get to the next level. And that's at the time when you're going to think about the intersection of AI and quantum computing. This is, I call it the singularity, the point where AI has the power, has the data, and has the access to the internet. And then we could be going to the next level of artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so to finish off, like for readers and practitioners or policymakers, what's the one insight you hope they take away from the book?
AI is not just a technical evolution, a technical concept. It's basically a social culture transformation. When you're using the calculators, for example, when you look at it, it's simplify things for you. It's available everywhere on the phones. People use it all the time. It's making things easier. Use it for everything. When we jump into the internet and how the internet is making it so easy for us to meet, to find, to study, to publish, to do so many things. So you start with the technical concept and you end up with an impact on the society and changing our lives in this case. For the artificial intelligence is taking it to the next level, which is going to have so many impact on us by making things much easier, accessible, understandable. For example, students who have challenges can have their own special tutors that will explain the education for them in a very simple way. The medical field will benefit from that. That's another important thing to look at it. The legal field will impact. The education will have benefits out of this, because it's going to give them more tools to get the information quick and summarize and easy to understand and customize to what you're looking for. It's not just an algorithm. There are values and ethics you have to think about it. This is the other side of the story here, that if you are, encouraging and applauding artificial intelligence, you have to think about what kind of ethical impact that's going to have on the society. Jobs, copyrights, for example, the misuse of the artificial intelligence by cyber criminals, the military use of the artificial intelligence. Those some of the questions has to be answered.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Professor Banafa. I will link the book down below and be sure to check it out. And thank you.
Thank you.